This is a presentation regarding the FDA's regulation of marijuana products.
Medical cannabis has been used documenting back to 2737 BC in ancient China. The active ingredient cannabinoids interact with the CB1 and CB2 receptors in the endocannabinoid system, which is a subunit of the central nervous system. The two most popular cannabinoids are cannabidiol, which is known as CBD, and tetrahydrocannabinol, which is known as THC. And the implications for therapeutic uses are vast and include appetite stimulation or suppressant, as well as pain and inflammation antagonists, and relief from the central nervous system and mental disorders.
So what does the FDA regulate when it comes to marijuana? The biggest thing they support is any marijuana clinical research, and they're also really interested in supporting research on marijuana products as a therapeutic. And just like any other medicine, there's certain clinical trials they have to go through, and the FDA supports all of that, and all of those clinical trials have to adhere to FDA standards. And that includes all compounds from marijuana, so both THC and CBD fall under this umbrella. And then they also look at the marketing of any marijuana products, and that's to make sure that especially therapeutic products aren't marketed to be abused, and that they're also telling factual information to their consumers. They also look at the product development, so just like any other drug, any marijuana product that's being marketed as a drug will have to go through the usual FDA process. They also assess what schedule they believe marijuana should be on a federal level. So this is part of the legalization or illegalization process for marijuana. And the last time the FDA did this was in 2016, and they decided that marijuana should continue to be a Schedule I drug. And that means it has a high abuse potential and there's no valid medical use for it. But the FDA is in charge of periodically checking in and making sure this is still the case. And then much like any other products, they also enforce truthful labeling, and they protect their consumers from any health risks. So that involves recalls or any warnings they have to give for untruthful labeling.
There are a few FDA centers involved in the regulation of marijuana products. There's the Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, the Center for Devices and Radiological Health, the Center for Veterinary Medicine, Center for Tobacco, and we'll also work with other agencies like the USDA and the EPA.
So there's currently 4 cannabinoid-related FDA-approved drugs. And the first 3, Marinol, Sasomet, and Syndrose, those are all synthetic cannabinoids, so they're considered cannabis-related. And those 3 drugs all have very similar uses. They all are used to reduce nausea in cancer patients, especially for things like chemo or some of their cancer medications can cause really bad nausea or vomiting. And they also can increase the appetite of those with anorexia due to AIDS. And then the newest cannabinoid-related FDA-approved drug is actually the only CBD product that is FDA-approved, and it reduces seizures, and that was approved in 2018.
The cannabinoid drug approval process is similar to the regular drug approval process and requires a new drug application to be submitted. For cannabinoids, more clinical trials may be required, and because of the regulations with clinical trials, special permissions will also be needed. And the FDA itself is also running trials regarding cannabis as a therapeutic.
So then regarding medical cannabis use, both THC and CBD, there's currently 11 states that have legalized recreational use, and then 22 additional states have legalized medical use only. So more than half of the United States recognizes medical marijuana as a legal substance. And then in order to distribute, any dispensaries must have a Schedule I license and be compliant with the National Institute on Drug Abuse regulations. And then also if the FDA classifies this product as a drug, it has to comply with all the CGMP recommendations that any other drug manufacturer has to comply with.
The FDA is still trying to figure out its reach on the production of marijuana products. All these therapeutics have to be FDA approved, and any mislabeled or mismarked products are in violation of the FDA rules and can warrant a warning letter. This is to protect customers, as the FDA does not support the descheduling of marijuana as a Schedule I substance, as it still has potential for abuse.
And these are our references. Thank you for listening.